I want also to welcome you and to say how pleased I am to see so many young faces, because it's important that the secular fight continues with equal vigor as time goes on. And also, although there were a lot of members, I noticed that there are quite a few non-members who we may manage to convert during the course of the day, but who may not know a lot about the NSS. So if you'll forgive me, I'd just like to say a little about what secularism means to me and some of the things we've done in just the last few months, which have actually been very rewarding. To me, secularism is about equality, and particularly equality for those who are not of the nominal or majority religion of the country. And Britain is the only country in the world that gives bishops the right to sit in its legislature. And England and Wales are the only countries in the world that require by law every school in the country to have a daily act of worship on every school day. And indeed, I think it's education which is the place where the lack of secularism grinds most on the ordinary person in the street. So as well as this mandatory act of worship, we have horrible calls, really heart-rending calls from people really upset about their children having religion rammed down their throats, even in community schools. And we have teachers coming to us, clearly very well qualified, not able to get into their local school because they're not of the right faith or none. But it's not all doom and gloom. We've had some successes recently, despite the fact that there are a third of the schools are church schools, entirely paid for, of course, running costs by the state and all of us. We have the church pushing harder and harder behind the scenes to get more influence still. And there seems to be a move to get community schools closed down, sometimes when they're the only ones in the locality, and combined with the next door church school. And there was one such case recently in Dagenham, where there was an infant school that was going to be closed down and combined with the local Church of England school. And we heard about this, and Stephen Evans, who's at the back there, our campaigns manager in the corner, he went to Dagenham and spoke to them. And a little while later, I heard there was a strike in Dagenham of these teachers. They'd actually rebelled. It's the first time ever that there's been a strike of teachers not wanting to go and be converted into a church school. And next we hear, without any legal action, Dagenham had crumbled and actually agreed not to go ahead with the closure. I'm very pleased with that, and I hope that we see more resistance like that on the ground. And we have helped a couple of other schools in slightly similar circumstances, where I'm pleased to say that the attempts of the church to get community schools closed down has failed. Another recent success was over creationist material in the National Trust's new exhibition at the Giant's Causeway. And Gerard's already mentioned our High Court success over cancelled prayers. There are now none in Wales and a reducing number in England and in Scotland. Edinburgh's just changed. We're also very proud of this European court case, where we are the only interveners that are actually facing up to and opposing the evangelical Christians who who's lost cases on either because they wanted to discriminate against gay people or were determined to wear crucifixes at work despite the health and safety implications. We're very proud that as the only intervener on that side, we may well be the instruments of the protection of our European discrimination law for the next 20 or 30 years. And that we will hear the results of that court case in the next couple of months. But in the hearing recently, the amount of publicity we got was absolutely massive. We were running around from studio to studio for 2 days, and I've worked out that hundreds of millions of people actually heard the NSS make their case, from local radio through national channels, radio and TV, to international channels all around the world. Oh. And fittingly, the President is quoted at length on a front page story in The Guardian this morning over a medical issue to do with the woman who was convicted over abortion. We have a very active role in Parliament. We know every inch of the Palace of Westminster, and we also work in Edinburgh and quite a lot in Brussels too. We do take an active role in Brussels because, and in Europe generally, because that does influence what happens here. And we work on the European platform of Parliament, Secular Platform, and the Council of Europe. And we've also opposed the Church in its, I think, dishonest and certainly very questionable submission to the Equality Office over same-sex marriage. But it's not just about bashing Christianity. We're not doing it because it's Christianity. It's about undue religious power. And we work very hard, often indeed with Christians, on Sharia courts undermining secular justice. Issues, particularly women's rights on divorce, custody, FGM, forced marriage, underage marriage, all those kind of things. And I'm rather pleased, indeed proud, that on Thursday at the United Nations we castigated, or instrumental in castigating, the UK government for not bringing in caste discrimination legislation in this country. There's a paper on that at the back. And we've also, as we've already heard, dealt with the United Nations affair a bit, and we've used that platform to take on the Holy See over child abuse. That's 3 times we've done that, and we ain't finished yet. And that is really, I think, enough about what we do. I hope it's fired your imagination, any of you that aren't members, and it looks a really interesting program. I hope that you enjoy it. Thank you.